Hi, I'm Jacob Gallmann from the Defiance Freedom YouTube. We're here with David Hooper, creator of the Anatomy of a Great Deception film, here at September 5th at the premiere. Thanks so much for taking the time to let me interview you.
My pleasure, Jake, without a doubt.
Okay, my first question is, you said in the movie that the clips of George W. Bush receiving the news about the planes hitting the tower struck you as being off. How did you come to be thinking about or watching those videos 10 years after the events?
At the time, I thought it was just a superfluous, serendipitous, random accident. I've kind of almost come to believe that there's a lot more meaning and purpose in a lot of the things that happen in this. I don't know why that one struck me so much, because in the 10 years after 9/11, I'd probably seen dozens of little clips or little videos, and it just nothing registered. And on this particular day, I mean, what started all of this, when it was in February of 2011, they were prepping for the 10-year anniversary of 9/11, which would have been coming up in September of 2011. And the clip just showed a picture of George Bush sitting in the classroom. And by now I had learned that as many as a dozen planes had been considered hijacked. And it just struck me as an odd scenario that the Secret Service would just let him sit there.
Right.
So I, you know how we all Google things when we don't know what they are. What does the word mean? Google it?
Yeah.
And I Googled it. And, the rest is history, basically.
Okay. How did you end up linking up with the architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth Group?
Well, they were very, very influential in how my eyes opened up and how I started to become aware of a few more things. They are based completely in science, and they will not divert from that. I mean, and they're even like, it's something I couldn't deny. And Richard Gage from Architects and Engineers had put together an unbelievable library of work that when you look at it and you start to think about it, you realize the laws of physics were broken that day unless something different happened than what we believe. And it was only after the film was done. They weren't involved in any creative input at all, and I didn't want anybody involved in that, because this was I'm just a regular guy at the end of the day, like a lot of people here that have gone through something like this. And I just wanted to tell the story of how this impacted a regular person, and some people connected with it, and so that's how we got here.
Awesome. Let's see. Richard Gage, he said that he thinks your film is possibly the best chance for the 9/11 Truth movement to break into the mainstream. Do you think that that's possible for this movement to become mainstream?
I think Richard Gage is being a kiss ass when he says that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Richard, if you heard that, I was just kidding. There's definitely momentum that is, it's a new momentum that, I woke up about 3-4 years ago now, and it's not just this movie. There's a number of other things that are happening congruently that are starting to wake people up in big chunks, I guess is how I'll say it. And I think that's what he was talking about when he said that this thing might have a chance to really do something. So the only difference between this and many other movies that have been made about 9/11 is the personal side of it. And anyone that's ever opened their eyes has had to go through that. And I just wanted to validate those guys, because I went through it and it wasn't easy. It's not easy. And there will be many more that will go through it. A lot of the people here know exactly what I was talking about. So.
Okay, one last question. You said in the beginning that your goal was just to regain your sanity and kind of connections with your wife and people that were close to you. Now that the film's got so much more success and a wider audience, what are your goals for the film and what you're doing with it now?
At the end of the day, I'm a pretty humble and modest guy. I'm not like all about lights and things like this. I will be very happy if frankly, I was happy in March when we had a little test screening for my friends, and that's the point where I felt I had restored my credibility, because when you start to speak about things that aren't the majority, the norm of the majority, it's sometimes it's not easy to hear. And for me, I live in a small town. I used to live in Chicago, which would have been a different story, but I moved back to the town that I grew up in, and there's a limited amount of people there, and if my credibility was gone, then we were going to have to move. And a lot of it was to restore that credibility. But before that, it was for my wife, Betsy, and I can see her shoes right there. I can see them, but I can't see her. And I wanted her to believe me, and she, up to that point, had not, which I don't blame her for, because I now understand how difficult it is to get your arms around this if you're just reading a single technical report and when I was having that trouble in my own home, that's when I thought there might be other people that are going through this, and that's when we started to really document it, and she was cool with it because she's a cool girl and I love her. So I don't even know if I answered your question, but
I think you did. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me, and thanks so much for sharing your story with us.
This is Jake, everybody.